But it's not just at the Supreme Court level, because as we've discussed, the Supreme Court only hears a certain number and very small number of cases every term, right?
Yep.
Most of this is at the appeals court level or at the federal district court level. So, for instance, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the famously West Coast. Trump appointed a bunch, and I think he changed the composition somewhat, but it still has what I would say is an ardently liberal bent. So they just came out and said that vagrancy on public lands, the police cannot move you off. So basically, Ninth Circuit allows homeless camps on public property.
Yep.
Right? Now, the Ninth Circuit, folks, is the single most overturned court of appeals in the country for a reason. So basically, and again, I'm not against the homeless, but again, no one wants to talk about the mental health issues. And when there are beds or when there are clinics or facilities that these people can go to and they don't want to go, the police in, let's say, San Francisco or in Portland now cannot move them off of public grounds, even if they're moving them into a shelter.
Yep.
So they have the right to be on public property for an encampment. So if someone defecates, outside, and again, if you've been to San Francisco, folks, or if you've been to Oakland, right, or you've been, East Bay or into Portland, which I have, this is the third world country. So again, I think it gets overturned by the Supreme Court, but that's why you can't just focus on who your senator is. You can't just focus on who even the president is.
That's right.
You can't just focus. You have to focus on a lower level on things like that. And you even go down to the district level because now they're in the fight, right? And I assume you saw that. I want to say it was a federal judge in, I think, Louisiana, who basically ruled against the Biden administration and put a stay on their communication with any of the big tech companies. Did you see that one?
Yep, exactly.
I love that.
I love it. I love that we're starting to see some of these local governments, local judiciaries fighting back against a tyrannical federal government. That is what we need to see. I love that you're bringing this up because so much of the time, the news coverage of all the salacious nonsense that the federal government is doing is where Americans are focusing their attention, not realizing that the real power is in your city council, your school board, your state house, and your local commissions, Texas as an example, county government is top dog here. So your county commissioners, your county judges, these races affect your life way more than even the outrageous nonsense they're doing at the federal level.
Absolutely, which is why, again, that whole civic participation is to understand this has to be seen through the prism of again, folks, October 30th, 2008, then candidate Barack Obama, before the election, said we are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming America. What he was talking about was transforming the institutions of America. And that includes the judiciary. Right. So it's not just the Supreme Court level, it's the federal appeals court level.
That's right.
Right. And if you go back to, not to preach on social studies or civics, right, separation of powers. 1787, when they wrote the Constitution, 11 years prior, we had the Articles of Confederation. They couldn't regulate interstate commerce. They couldn't have a standing army. Right. They didn't have the power of taxation. Because they thought there was this new man that walked the earth called an American. Well, 11 years later, the system was on the verge of failing, basically, right? They write the Constitution and they create checks and balances not only between branches, but within branches. We all know what's happened to the Congress, right?
Yep.
We all know what's happened to the executive branch, right? The legislative branch, the executive branch. The last bastion from an institutional level is the judiciary. So they're going after the judiciary. They're going after the Supreme Court, expand the court. They're going after the appeals courts and the district courts. And people actually, both sides, frankly, are going judge shopping. But one side is trying to delegitimize the courts because they don't like the decisions.
That's right.
Right. And that's what you're getting. So it has to be understood in this whole battle. What this is an attack on the Constitution.
In
It's pure and
Vermont,
simple.
I know of a minimum, and this affected us, of 3 cases where the Vermont Supreme Court literally said, yeah, we acknowledge the city of Burlington is breaking the law. Yeah, we acknowledge this person is breaking the law. This is wrong. This is a problem. But we're going to allow it to stand. And then they count
all for
on
one for all, or we're sunk.
This is what you guys, this is, if we allow for what sets this country, one of the greatest things that sets this country apart from all of the other ones, which is the rule of law and what is supposed to be fairness and fair treatment for everyone with the same rules under the law. If we lose that, we lose everything.